Okay. So yesterday we discussed about authentication. So what is meant by authentication is if some information is not open for all, then we need to prove that we are authorized or we have authentication to get that information. Right? For example, I will show you marks to some other class. Right? Here is displayed on the screen. You are authenticated to see what is happening in this workshop. But somebody else might not be authenticated. Right? So authentication can be done in multiple ways. The first one is basic authentication, where you have a username password, every time you carry your username password. I say this is what my username and this is what my password and LOE. Sometimes it also has RBA, role-based access. For example, if you go into the staff room, you may not be able to access some of the almaras. They're long. So it's a role-based access. Somebody will be able to access it. Whoever is at a professor level, you can access it. Right? But professors may not access what HOD can access. Right? And what principal can access, HOD may not have access. So there is a hierarchy. This is called as RBA, role-based access. Based on the role, I am allowed to do few things. Right? So here we are not discussing about role-based access, but it is the authentication. So authentication, the basic authentication is where you carry username, password every time. That's like rudimentary. Rudimentary is very basic. The second thing is token-based authentication. So for the first time when you go and talk to the server, if the server identifies you, it will provide you with a token, like ID card, for the first time. Then every time you go to the server for any information, you carry this ID card, you carry this store. But where do you store this ID card? When you go home, where do you store this ID card? Somewhere in your desk, so that it's easily accessible for the next time when you want to go from the college. You have Diwali holidays for Sunday. So once you come back on Tuesday, you should come back with your ID card. So you store that somewhere. To store those things on your browser, if you are doing the web-based development, you store that in something called cookies. You know the difference between cookies and biscuits? We all use biscuits. Example, Parle, very famous, Tiger. The famous brands are Tiger. After that, today. So today is a confusion and I think the concept of cookies are not taking today. But Marigold, Tiger, Parle. When you are eating it, you won't get anything inside that. It's only some product. Whereas cookies are like dark fancy. The cookies. So cookies is not a popular concept in India. Actually, cookies are popular concepts in other countries, Western countries. Because biscuits is also not a concept of ours. It's not a staple of ours. Because we regularly cook the food and then eat. We normally cook the food and eat. We don't store the food. It's not the Indian culture. So in case of cookies, you have some surprises. So there will be some kind of nuts, chocolate chips, which are there inside the batter, inside the biscuit. So that is what is called as cookie. There is something which is inside. So cookie means you store something inside which is invisible immediately. It will not be visible immediately, but when you actually open it, it will be. So when you go to your browser, Chrome browser, go to your developer tools, right click and then inspect and then go there. So now you can see cookies. So cookies can be different things. One cookie we are discussing today is session cookie. So session means from the time I went to the server and I authenticated myself, I get a token. So normally tokens will have expiry date. Your ID cards have expiry date, like 1 year, 2 year, depends on the institution or the course you have. So after that, they is not useful. Even if you carry that, they say it's expired. So these cookies are stored in the browser and we use it. Whenever we are going back to the server, we actually take this cookie, the value of the cookie, and go and tell the server, I am this particular person. You will not take your name. If you say, I am Mohammed, and server checks whether this in this session is valid or it's valid. So the session evaluates either because of time or because of the intention. So user tells I know. It's an intention event. So here today we are specifically discussing about the third part, which is OAuth. OAuth is like authorized by somebody else. Right? So here we are using something called Firebase. So Firebase is a tool or is a service which provides third-party authentication. Okay. So if you need to use the third-party authentication or social login, you need to first register in Firebase website. So I'll show you how the Firebase website will be. So this is the Firebase website. You need to sign in and then create a new project. So if you go here, so I have created a project with project name and then your project ID, it can be same. And you can add an app. So when you add an app, it will ask what kind of app you need to add. What kind of app we are developing now? Android. And this is the symbol, right? So I click on that. So it will ask my app name. So this app name should be exactly the package name of what you are using. So if you go to your any of the activity file, you can see the package. Just copy paste, otherwise it won't work later on. It's saying already existing because already I have registered. And then here you can give any name. Then register app. Then it will allow you to download something. So you can actually download this Google services.json. This is important. So just download it. Go next. So it will tell what should be added. Because as I told, this is a third-party library, which means you need to download it. And to download it, you use build.net. Next. Continue to console. So just wait for some time or refresh this. You'll see the new project and new app. So this is what my new app is. Okay. And inside this, you go to build, you go to authentication, and here you enable the sign-in method as Google. By default, you will not get this. You need to add a new provider and select the Google because I have already done that. It is showing me. And then you need to log in with the Google, your Gmail ID, password. Okay. So you need to do these steps before you run any code of Firebase. So these are the steps. You can see I need to go to console.firebase.google.com. I've shown that you need to add a new project, then new app, and make sure that your package name should be exactly added as apps package name. Then download the Google services.json. You need to put that into app/Google services.json. And in authentication, you need to enable the Google sign and then sign in. So in build or Gradle, we will add one dependency so that we get the Firebase. So we have already shown this also. Then in your activity, for login, you have a different speed, right? So that means different speed means different activity means different layout. Different layout means you also have different activity.java file, right? So whenever you are making a new screen, if it is using a third-party library or something to build on standard, you create a layout, you create activity.java. So this is what we are writing in activity.json, sorry, activity.java. So I am using something called Google sign-in options because I am using through Firebase, I'm using Google sign-in. So Google sign-in options, I'm using web client ID. So this is coming from again layout. So when I show layout, you can see that. And you say that get client start activity for result, which means these are not implemented by us. These are all implemented by Firebase. Okay. So all these intents and all are implemented by Firebase. So what it is doing is whenever you are clicking on that sign-in, it will take us to the Google authentication page where it will show you your username, email username, and then when you click on next, it will take you to the password. Those are not implemented by us. Okay. So this code, we are just copy pasting from Firebase examples. So every such library will have different code. So we are not writing this. And whenever this the authentication gets successful, you see if task.is successful, toast means it will show that on the light gray color, it will show a message saying that login successful. It will not pop up with no others. Pop-up alert is when we say okay. So this is like a toast. So in web technologies, we call it as breadcrumbs. Might not have used it. And in mobile technologies, we use a toast. So when I go to the login page or login activity, it will show like this because I have only added one single button. Okay. And when I click on that, it will take me to that. You might have already seen this kind of login when you log out on your mobile and try to log in, right? Or you try to add new account, it will take you like this. So I'll show you the code once. So let it build, it takes some time. Okay, now let us see. So login activity. So on create, I'm using Firebase authentication. I'm getting an instance, and using that, I'm doing the authentication. So this is what my login page is. And on the result, what is happening is it is showing the text on the toast signed in with the user, and then you see this creating a new intent. Creating a new intent means creating a new activity object. Creating new activity object means going to the new page. What is that new page? Main activity. Okay. So main activity is what we have developed yesterday. Okay. And this is what the activity login.xml. So if you see, I have only added one button. Nothing else. Okay. Now in the main activity, this is what we have yesterday. Banned countries, everything will come. So let me just run this. So I should start with login. This was the previous screen. Let the new app come into picture.